Hello, everybody. It is with heavy hearts that we come to you for this breaking news live panel to share that Susie and Clayton have just broken up. Now, we just got the news about 10 minutes ago, maybe 15. I don't know who's counting. Kayla, maybe you're counting those seconds. Allison, but we are here to give our live reactions and thoughts of this breakup. So, welcome back to our channel. Make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up, and make sure you're subscribed if you are new here. And we also have a live chat going on if you want to be able to weigh in your thoughts and your opinions. I'm your host, Zachary Reality, with Allison Van Dam and Kayla Thompson. And I got to hear from you guys. I'm trying to gather my thoughts. Obviously, I was very invested in this
Aw.
couple. So, Allison, why don't you kind of share, and then Kayla, what your first thoughts were?
Yeah, I mean, definitely invested and definitely hopeful given all that they went through during, his season, directly after his season. Susie came on the Vile Files podcast directly after AFR, so that's when I met her in person for the first time. Was nothing but like kind, sweet, gracious, generous with her answers. I think really got a lot of viewers back on Clayton's side during that interview because she did just speak, so positively about him, really talk through their relationship. He at one point told her, "You don't have to stay with me through this," because it was such a difficult time for him specifically. And so in a way, I was like, if they can make it through that, if she can continue to be there for him, if the two of them can get through not only that, but even the cheating allegations of the TikTok saying that he went home with a girl at a
Sasha?
bar. They had long distance. They road tripped across the country. Like they had gone through it, and then we all got that news that Susie was moving to LA, Clayton was going to Arizona. And I know they kind of tried to explain that, and it didn't necessarily mean a breakup. And while I heard them and could kind of understand the logistics, it also I don't think was necessarily a great sign, and less so of them living apart, but more so they said they were going to those individual places for career opportunities because those were the places they wanted to be. And if at the end of the day your professional and personal goals don't match up with the person you want to spend your life with, that's going to cause friction and tension and separation there too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, man, I'm not gonna lie, when the season ended, I really did not, have much stake kind of in Susie and Clayton. I mean, even at the live show, like it was just awkward. It still felt like awkward, a little clunky, I don't know, but through the months, they really kind of proved me wrong. I thought they kind of won me over in terms of, oh wow, like making the TikToks, kind of just making light of things. That to me said that they're able to get past like such a big crazy situation that his whole ending was. And yeah, I watched that interview with Susie and Nick, and I thought like, I thought a lot of things that she said made sense, and I thought it was fair for her to kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna walk through this with Clayton, like I really care about him. And I think oftentimes too, like when couples from the show just leave in a relationship rather than the pressure of being engaged, it kind of tends to work a little bit better. So I thought with that as well. But yeah, like Allison said, I don't know, the moving apart wasn't a great sign. I mean, Zach, you told us, you gave us inside scoop, and when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, I get that. But then
Yeah.
still not a great sign. So I'm not totally surprised, but it's unfortunate. I thought that they could, I don't know if they're gonna be together forever and ever and ever, but I thought they'd make it a little bit longer. So yeah.
I thought they would be together forever and ever and
Oh
ever.
yeah.
When I talked to them a few weeks ago, like after that podcast came out with Kalen Bristow, we were on FaceTime, and they were telling me like Clayton's gonna move in with his brother for a few months. He's gonna look for a house. He doesn't want to just find a house without being in Arizona. And Susie had a friend that lived in Los Angeles, so she was like, "Oh, okay, I'll just stay in LA for a few days. It's a 50-minute flight, or a few months. It's just a 50-minute flight, and we're gonna make it work." And her plan was to move to Arizona in a few months. That's exactly what she told me directly. So I had high hopes for them. I feel like I've gotten to know them personally as a couple. I've seen them on social media as a couple grow. They went through a lot from the show. It was a lot on Clayton. It was a lot on Susie. Obviously we all saw the ending in the finale. So I mean, I'm shocked and I'm devastated. Honestly, like, I'm sorry. I'm sad about this. Like, this is a couple that I was really invested in and, like, know personally. And, like, I don't know all these Bachelor couples personally, but with Susie and Clayton, like, I really rooted for them. And, Susie is just such a kind, caring person. And she, I know put her all into this relationship, and I know Clayton did too, and they had so much in common. It felt like they were goofy together, they were fun together, they were loving together. So this just completely threw me for a loop. I know Susie did post on Instagram yesterday that she packed up her stuff, so she'll be in LA in a couple days. So maybe we'll get brunch and I'll, be able to share with you guys more, but obviously I don't want to pry. So I'm honestly really shocked, but we just found out about this on Instagram. They were able to post a mutual statement on their pages. Allison, Kayla, do you want to read part of the statement? Who wants to?
Yeah. Allie, you want to go first?
Excuse me. I needed
read
to
it the first part,
I can't
Allison,
see
and
that
then
well
Kayla can read the
without it.
second part. Okay.
Yeah.
I still
If you
can't
have the
even read
script
that
up.
without it. There we go. Oh, I got it now. Thank
Okay,
you. Okay.
okay.
It says,
Okay.
with incredibly heavy hearts, we wanted to share that we have decided to go our separate ways. For anyone who has ever loved, knows that this is a painful decision to make and not one taken lightly. Sorry. We understand that there will likely be a lot of questions about this decision. Social media is definitely a highlight reel, and much of our experiences together we have kept private, as I'm sure most can understand. But we will share this. Although this last year together has brought us much joy and so many laughs, there has been also significant amounts of pain. We know no healthy relationship comes without its struggles, and we've realized that we were not prepared for the external forces that hindered our ability to not only heal as individuals, but also as a couple. We both are focused on continuing to work on ourselves so we can be the best versions of ourselves. This is not an easy time for either of us, but we stand in support of each other and hope to see the other go on to find happiness and healing. Although Clacy is no more, we hope that our communities can support us individually as we move forward with love and respect for each other. Thank you to all of you that supported our relationship. It means more than you will ever know.
Not Allison with the glasses.
I love Allison.
Fun fact about me,
I mean,
not
listen.
great vision, but the glasses help.
Well, thank you for your very, poetic and diplomatic and dramatic reading. I kind of want to see you read all our breakup statements in the future, as we always
you.
report on all
That was
couples.
great.
So hats off to you. I don't know if I could have got through that. But basically what I'm hearing is that they tried to make it work. They both gave it their best shot and ultimately realized they just, weren't meant to be together. And they still want to support each other. So this doesn't seem like a messy breakup to me. They posted it together. Sometimes we see couples have their own personal statements when there's a breakup. This is a conjoint statement. The Bachelor ended months ago. So I truly believe that this is more on their words and their terms versus the show and the franchise. And I think that they're going to remain somewhat friendly moving forward. I can't imagine them just like ghosting each other, or I can't imagine there being like this big fight. But I don't know. Kayla, how do you kind of interpret this?
No, yeah. I agree. I'm with you on that. I think the nature of their relationship was filled with understanding. Well, once they got past kind of that, obviously, that fantasy suite situation, it was filled with a lot of understanding and grace, and kind of, you could tell. I mean, I remember Susie talking about how they talked for hours and hours and hours on the phone about their relationship when they were deciding to get back together and all of that. So, I could see them, taking it with grace and with respect for each other, and just being kind. I think that's, again, just reflective of Susie and Clayton as individuals, as people. I think the thing about this is, like, yes, it's sad that they broke up, but it's great that they realized that they weren't meant for each other now, than to be together for years and years and and then realize, okay, we're not meant to be. And then you kind of have to start over almost. So it's like, this is not all a negative thing. I think it's a positive thing to recognize, like, have the wisdom to recognize these pieces just aren't going to fit. And we need to maybe even it's not just about us individually as as people. It's just really like, we need to actually just focus on ourselves right now in our lives and not focus on a relationship. And I think that's totally healthy to do. So, I think that there's positives to this as well. And not that all of just an ending of something, but the beginning of something else for them too, separately,
I mean, breakups are tough. Like you said, they weren't engaged. They never got engaged on the show. They were boyfriend, girlfriend. They lived together. He moved to Virginia pretty quickly after the show. They did that road trip from Arizona to Virginia, which we all followed along. I mean, they started watching Rachel and Gabby's season together. They were brought up a lot. Susie had his back. She defended him. She made light of that situation when they were singing Clayton sucks, Clayton sucks, Clayton sucks. Thank you.
Sing.
Well, actually, Kayla, you're the singer. Kayla, you're the singer. Just give it to me. The people want to hear it. No shade to Kayla,
Clayton
We
sucks.
love him.
Clayton sucks. No, I'm kidding. I'm not doing that, Zach. No.
You gotta. No, you
Go.
need to do the high note. No, everyone loves you. We love Clayton, but you got to do the high note.
Clayton sucks. Okay, let's move on.
Woo! Oh my God. Okay, Allison, read our comment here from Sherry Starbuck Ash on Facebook.
Yeah, so Sherry says, majority all knew this was never going to last. He's a goofball and she's a beautiful girl, not for him. Susie is a brilliant young lady with career goals, and she'll be so far better off without this dude. Sherry, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the comment. I feel like this is a little hard on Clayton. If there's something we've seen on social media since the season is that Susie's a goofball too. They, make all those funny videos together. And yeah, she's career driven. She is so passionate. But Clayton has a lot of passion too. He's spoken out about causes he really cares about, starting, public speaking and really spreading messages. So if we know one thing about our girl Susie is she's not dumb, and she wouldn't waste her time on someone who is not worthy of her. So if Susie sees the promise in him and lasted this long with him, there's a lot more to Clayton that America didn't get to see. And I think we just have to have that confidence in her that she wouldn't have ended up with him if he, was just a goofball who didn't deserve her.
And that's what I said to begin with. When everyone was, giving Clayton flack, I knew I trusted Susie, and if she saw the best in him, then I wanted to give him a chance, and I did, and I think a lot of us did. So it was almost like trust Susie to trust Clayton, and just because they broke up, it doesn't mean that Clayton is a bad guy. I feel like a lot of us got to know Clayton on social media and on the podcast, the last few months since their show has ended, and they've been able to just kind of be in the real world. So I don't like this comment, Crafty, come lately. I don't think that she was too good for Clayton. I think they really were a great match, and they enjoyed their times together. I think that Clayton is a really good guy. I think that he got thrown into The Bachelor. He didn't know what the show was. He didn't watch it. And, when you're on The Bachelor, you're made to look bad. Every single lead looks bad. Not as much The Bachelorettes. They really like to hype up the girls. But then, they made Tino look really bad. Tino made himself look bad, but the show made him look even worse. This show is not, it doesn't present things the way it actually is all the time. And that's why we gotten to know them on social media. So that's why I'm so sad, is because I feel like after watching them and seeing them grow as a couple, it's just sad that they, gave it their all, and we got to love them as a couple without the show. And now it's over.
Yeah.
So this is kind of shocking, just shocking and sad. And Kayla, do you want to talk a little bit about why you think they decided to break up now? Is it the moving? Is it it's been 6 months from the show? Do you think that this was premeditated? I hate saying this, but we got to speculate, right?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I think that it really and truly wasn't like, oh, we'll just stay together until, it's a good time for us to split up for if it's the optics, or if it's money wise in terms of influencing situation. I don't even think it was that. I think it genuinely was they tried, they moved in together. It wasn't like they moved to LA together first. He moved, like you said, he moved to Virginia for her, and then they decided, okay. So I think they really were trying to genuinely live life. And I think it just maybe was one of those things where, like I was saying earlier, we're either not meant for each other and we're not right for each other in this season, or in this season, we individually don't need to be worrying about a relationship. We need to prioritize ourselves as people and growing into the people that we want to be. And so, yeah, with that being said, I also agree. I think it's okay. Obviously we're fans, so we're going to speculate, but let's not kind of point the finger and say one person is better than the other, just because I think that we're all on a journey of growth, and I think this show is a expedited, microwave situation of that. You put somebody in there and they just are all this stuff comes out, whether it's good or bad. So I think Clayton learned a lot. I think Susie learned a lot. And so I think, it's a mixed thing. And I think, again, the show is just, there's so much pressure. There's so much of that that goes into, they're trying to keep the relationship. I know Nick Viles talked about that like all the time, how hard that is. So there's that piece of it obviously as well. But I saw a comment
Yeah.
saying, I thought they were going to get married. Yeah, I thought they were a pretty good potential match, but sometimes it's just life happens and things don't work out. So, yeah.
Yeah. And like I guess taking, the part of me that is like a friend or a fan out of this, it is interesting because, they told us that they were going to try and make it work when they moved to two different states. Now is the day that they're moving. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
now's the
no,
day.
it's
She is
true.
like boarding the plane. I don't know when she's going to get here. He's going to be moving too. And they just got back from a trip together in Bali last week. I know they had a nice event in Virginia. So Allison, what are your thoughts? Is this something that maybe they were planning on staying together when they moved and then they just realized on moving day that like, hey, it's not going to work? Like, I wonder why they didn't want to at least try the long distance from Arizona to LA like the plan was.
I mean, again, this is all purely speculation. We don't really know. As Kayla and I said at the beginning, we didn't think that, the distance was necessarily a good sign, but maybe it was, let's think hypothetically if what they told you was true, of it was only supposed to be a temporary situation, and then he was going to move, or she was going to move to Arizona once he got a house. Maybe it was, as she started talking to her friend more and making more business plans and putting down more potential roots in LA, maybe she realized, a lot of her business could be here. Maybe, he's realizing he would never want to come to LA. He's really set on Arizona. Like, there's a chance that even if it was, a temporary hypothetical thing for them to live apart, if they both kind of threw themselves into it and became more invested in their own individual paths, their own individual locations, maybe at that point they realized, or it wasn't going to work. Maybe they already were experiencing rough patches and it just, expedited things and made it worse. But I also think the part of their statement that was the most interesting to me and the most mature thing in that statement, and I can just like hear Susie's voice so clearly in the writing, is
Yeah.
when she's talking about how they didn't have a chance to necessarily heal as individuals or
Mm,
like really process what they went through on the show. And that makes sense
yeah.
to me because the second that they were, going on after the final rose and said, this is my boyfriend, this is my girlfriend, we're together, the whole
That's my
world was against
boyfriend.
them. So they had to so double down on the fact that it was the right
Hmm.
decision, that they were so happy, that they were so in love. And I believe that they were. But I think because they had to like fight the good fight to convince the world,
Yeah.
that like maybe it took them a while to be like, okay, well, are we fighting for our reputations right now? Or are we fighting because we're truly in love and we want to make a life with each other?
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
good point.
And I think that they were planning their own individual lives. Like you said, their lives were just going in different directions. He really wanted to move back to Arizona. She wanted to move to LA. And, I guess they were planning their new chapters in their next few months. And I guess they just didn't see each other a part of it anymore. And like I said, I truly believe that they'll still remain on great terms. I don't think this is a messy breakup. Iris says, that show is so fake. No one is there to find love. They share people among themselves. It's just nasty. I mean, even if like the show is fake, which we all know a lot of it is very produced, I do think that they did find love with each other, and I think that was apparent on social media and on the podcast and what they shared with us since the show has ended. So I think that a lot of couples do genuinely surprise themselves when they find love, even if that's not what they go into the show for. I mean, look at Gabby and Eric. Eric did not think the show was real. He didn't expect to find anyone. He never expected to win, and now he's engaged to Gabby. And maybe in 6 months from now, we'll be having the same conversation about Gabby and
Uh-oh.
Eric. Who knows? Who knows? But I
Who
mean, just to
knows?
kind of round out this Susie and Clayton panel, we all wish them the best. What do you guys think is next? Do you think, do you think maybe they'll go to Paradise? Do you think they're, from like a marketing perspective, that maybe they want to do a podcast individually? Like, is one
Mm,
of them going to go on Vile Files and kind of talk more about this? Or do you think that they want to keep this
yeah.
breakup private, for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I could see
They
them
haven't
kind of maybe
shied away
keeping.
from press. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
continue,
true.
Kayla. But yeah,
That's
they've been
true
open
too.
to it
No, that's a good
before.
point. Yeah, yeah, I could see them like keeping things like open. That's what I was gonna say. And not like trying to be secretive about it. But in terms of like Paradise, well, I have heard that Clayton and Susie did actually go to Paradise. I think you did tell me that, Zach, that
Yeah,
they
they did.
do make
They
an
did go.
appearance on Paradise.
Oh
So
my
that might be actually kind of
God. This is
jarring to
giving
watch that, honestly.
This is
Yeah, now that
giving
we think
Michelle and
about
Nate
it.
on Family Feud. It's giving Michelle and Nate on
Yes,
Family
it's
Feud. They
Oh,
broke
giving
up and
very
months
much.
later. We will
Absolutely.
see Clayton and
So,
Susie on Paradise this season, towards the end. They'll be
yeah.
there to give couples advice.
Yeah.
But
But
which they
in
probably
terms
have a
of
lot of
like in
advice
the
to give.
next season, that's true. That's true. They probably do. But I guess at that point it was all good, and then now it's not. So I don't know. But I think in terms of like the future, like next season of Paradise, maybe time will tell. But I don't think they'll go on as like a. I think I could see both of them
Guest.
going on as, yeah, as just kind of like, or maybe just from the angle of, no, I think this process does work. I want to come to Paradise, not because like I'm trying to keep my, you know, my name in the Bachelor Nation world, So yeah, that's how I see it. But
What about you, Allison?
yeah, I mean, I think they'll do interviews at some point, whether it's File Files, whether it's Off the Vine. They've become friends to a lot of like the big names in Bachelor Nation because they have been honest and vulnerable and shared things, whether it's in studio or on their road trip. They've been pretty open with a lot of people. So do I think they're going to be like rushing to get into a studio ASAP? No, but I could see both of them doing interviews at some point. And honestly, I don't think Bachelor in Paradise would be like the best move for either of them because they are like already names for themselves in Bachelor Nation, in pop culture. I can see Susie expanding her kind of like media empire. I know she has a YouTube channel. She's obviously a wedding videographer who's wanted to be traveling more. I could see her expanding that into, podcasting or maybe teaching people videography or something along those lines. Clayton's been doing, public speaking, working out, like kind of personal training stuff. So I can see both of them kind of creating their own little mini empires in regards to their own passions. And it really seems like a respectful breakup. And I hope that they, are amicable and on good terms. And like you said, Zach, we wish them nothing but the best.
Yeah, we do. We 100% are not taking sides. We're not pointing fingers. We know that they gave it their all. We're going to take a couple questions from you guys before we end the live. So if you have any thoughts or opinions or questions about the couple or just Bachelor, let us know. We have our live chat on the side. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, guys. We want to see you guys subscribe to our channel as we are always covering all things Bachelor Nation, reality TV, pop culture, pretty much everything that is going on. Robin says, I feel like they were not going to make it when they said they were not going to live together. She was going to LA and him back to Arizona. I think that is what a lot of people originally thought. And that's what I even thought too. So to give you the backstory on how the FaceTime ended up happening, where they told me like they were going to work, is that once I listened to the podcast, I texted Susie and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. You guys aren't going to work. I was like, I'm so sorry, you guys aren't gonna last. Like that was my first reaction, and that's when she's like, no, 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 no. Like we are going to last. Like let me tell you what's actually going on, and then that's when I was able to kind of make that video and statement and give everyone the tea. Like they truly were planning on making it work. 100%. They had plans, they had goals. There's no reason for Susie and Clayton to lie to me, to lie to you guys. Like they really were trying to make it work. But I think what happened is when it actually came time to move and it was the day of the long distance, they realized that it just wasn't going to work. Maybe these thoughts of breaking up were in the back of their head for the past month or two. Isn't that how a lot of relationships are? You don't just break up with someone one day. Like you usually, there's signs, you have feelings, and it takes a couple months sometimes. Sometimes it takes people years to break up with someone they don't want to be with or they just don't see a future with. So I think that this is all just shocking, as Celeste said. And that's just it's Clacy no mo. Clacy no mo.
It's that. No, I think too when they Zach, I think when they did announce the moving away, I think my other thought was the fact that they are willing to split up. I think that's another kind of like underlying kind of piece of it is like the willingness or like the of potentially jeopardizing that relationship because of moving away. That might have been a sign. So yeah, it's unfortunate.
You want to take this one, Allison, from Kat?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
take it,
Kat
Ellen.
said, I'm glad she never should have been with him. She deserves someone who knew what they wanted. She deserved better. I'm glad she would go find that. I mean, yeah, it's like Clayton didn't gain any fans of how he handled the end of his season, but I think the true, victims, if we're going to name a victim in that situation, were Gabby and Rachel. They were the ones dealing with the
True.
repercussions of him going back and forth
Yeah.
and not knowing what he wanted. Clearly, he realized what he wanted was Susie. It was just kind of a little bit too
Yeah.
late at that point. So that's, I think, why America's hearts broke for Gabby and Rachel. It's why they became our bachelorettes. It's why ABC scrambled to have two, and they'd never had two before. That was a last minute decision. But yeah, I mean, I think he was just naive and new to love, and I'm sure him looking back has a lot of notes for his younger self of things he would have done differently.
Yeah.
You know, part of me, no, just
Absolutely.
part of me always wondered, what if he ended up picking Rachel? No, I'm just
I
kidding.
was
I'm
just
literally
going,
kidding. No,
I
I
was
know
gonna
people are
say
gonna
that.
think that.
I know.
I know people
That's
are
why I was like,
thinking
wait,
that.
they're both single now. Not to be messy.
I mean, look at how Rachel's journey ended.
Yeah.
She loved him. She did love him, but we're just being
she
messy. I
loved
think
him the most, in my opinion.
she
But
did love him a lot. But I think everything
yeah.
obviously played out the way it was supposed to. And I'm interested to hear what Rachel and Gabby will say about this breakup. I mean, I'm sure that they'll give their 2 cents, especially with Gabby being on Dancing with the Stars. I'm sure there'll be an interview where she'll be like, "Oh, it's so sad."
Yeah.
You know, they always give PR answers. I really have the most respect for people who just say whatever they want. But sometimes you
Yeah.
can't really just say whatever you want in this industry. You kind of do have to always be media trained in a way, but also like you do want to give your honest thoughts and opinions. So we'll see how other Bachelor Nation people and exes react to this. But Tanya says, "I'm not shocked because they broke up when they were on the show. This is bound to happen. Sorry to be a downer, but that's just what it is." And I think a lot of people see it that way, and I think a lot of other people like us, you know that they gave it their best shot too. So what are your kind
Yeah.
of closing thoughts on this, Allison?
Just sad. I think we're all just sad because we watched them fight for it. We watched them kind of defy the odds. He had such an interesting end to his season. We've watched them travel and do all this amazing stuff and give us all the content we've wanted on social media. So while a breakup, I'm sure was maybe going to happen at some point, I did think that they would, make it a little longer just based on how much they had made it through up until now. But yeah, I guess two different cities were calling their names, two different careers. And I'm proud of them, honestly, for answering that as opposed to just throwing that all away for a relationship, because I've seen too many people, women especially, just kind of want a guy and jump into a relationship and jump into marriage and regret it later because they kind of put themselves on the back burner because they wanted him so badly. So maybe this is actually a really powerful message to women from Susie to put your dreams, put your career first, and try and find someone who can do that alongside of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, speaking for someone that, was just kind of seeing the bird's eye view of Clayton and Susie maybe, or kind of like just maybe the distance of it, because I don't personally follow both of them, so I wasn't privy to all of the travel and just like, the cuteness of their relationship.
Yeah.
I kind of wished them well from afar. I was like, okay, God bless. But I think for me, it's kind of like, it's not a good sign for the franchise. It's kind of another like, man, another one that didn't work. Like, does this show work anymore? It's not great that the finale just ended and Rachel's, storyline, her love story didn't pan out. I know they tried to give us Avon, but we talked about that. That ain't legit. And, for me as well, like, I don't know if Gabby and Eric are like the most solid, legit thing ever. I think they're really cute, but I'm like, again, this is like a we'll see. I don't know. Good luck, Zach, the
Yeah.
next Bachelor, because it's just another relationship that failed. And so as just a Bachelor fan, I think it's like, like, geez, like this is not looking good for the future of
I mean, and you could
the
always kind of
franchise.
do the argument like, are we wasting our time, like, investing in these couples and these shows? Because it always ends up, in a breakup sometimes. And I think even like we were just talking about with Love is Blind and After the Altar, everyone broke up. So honestly, I think
Yeah.
that this is also like what keeps pop culture and reality TV going. I think that people love the highs and they get invested in the lows. And I think a lot of Bachelor Nation is going to have opinions on this over the next few days, the next couple of weeks, good, bad, whatever it is. And I think that's just what makes pop culture. You know, some couples last, some couples not, and we're here to talk about them all and break it all down. And you know, that's just the way life goes. It's people break up and people stay together. But to round it out, we are wishing Clayton and Susie the best. You know, we only want to have positive comments about this, so just come at things a little objectively if you're not too big of a fan. But thank you all for watching. Definitely let us know what you think. We want to read them and hear them because that's everything we have to share with you guys. And please be sure to subscribe and ring the bell before you head out of here. I'm your host, Zachary Reality, with Allison Van Dam and Kayla Thompson. Feel free to check out our social medias. They will be on the screen. And thank you all so much for watching. We will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.